Are you cruising through life not always knowing what direction you were headed? Let Live on Purpose with Dr. Paul Jenkins be your guide. Live on Purpose will give you insights into your life and show you how you can become the driver and captain of it. No more aimless wandering. By learning the principles that govern happiness and wealth, you will be able to make personal progress that you have only dreamed possible. And now, here's your host, the shrink who expands your life, Dr. Paul.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Live on Purpose Radio. This is Dr. Paul, the shrink who expands your life, bringing you another episode of Live on Purpose Radio. Welcome back, everybody. We've got another exciting show planned for you today, and I want to, as always, introduce you to another fascinating guest. This is a man that I've known for only a short time, less than a year for sure, probably more like 6 months or so. Does that sound right to you? And I'll give you his name, and then we're going to talk about his story. This is Jasin Leavitt. Welcome to the show, Jasin.
Hi, Dr. Paul.
I am thrilled to have you with me today.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're thrilled.
I am.
We've got some neat things to talk about, and I think the starting point... Well, first of all, just share with our listeners a little bit about who you are. Introduce yourself a little bit to us, Jasin.
Okay. My name's Jasin Leavitt. I live in Oakley, Utah. I have my wife. His name is Rachel, and I have 3 awesome kids, Madison, Mason, and Trayson.
Uh-huh. And now Oakley is in a beautiful little place called Summit County.
Yes, sir.
And when you were growing up, actually, you know what? I grew up not too far from there in a little town called Heber. And we may have talked about this before. I can't remember if I had this conversation with you. But we used to play football games and things like that with South Summit High School. And that's in Camas, which is right near Oakley.
Yes.
And one of the things that I remember about that part of the country, it's very similar to where I grew up, for one thing. And this place is famous for rodeos.
Yes,
Is that not true?
Yes, sir.
In fact, the state championship rodeos were often held in Heber, where I grew up. But Camas, Oakley, that neck of the woods was very much into that kind of stuff, too. And you used to do this back in high school, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I grew up doing it. My family has done it ever since I was little. We did it as a family.
So that's just part of your background and your upbringing. You're also quite involved in sports and athletics.
Yeah, I played a lot of sports, too. I am very competitive and loved it.
Uh-huh. You're still pretty competitive, aren't you?
Yes. I have a hard time expressing myself now, but it's okay.
And that's part of the story.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you, as you were growing up through high school and things, you were doing your rodeo, primarily roping.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Now,
yes, that's all I did. I roped and I steer wrestled and then played football and basketball.
Roping and steer wrestling.
Yes.
I don't know that I've ever had someone who was a roper and steer wrestler on my show. You are probably the first one, Jasin.
Well, thank you very much.
Isn't that exciting?
Sure.
And I don't know how much our listeners know about that kind of stuff. Anything you want to share about that?
All I know, I haven't steer wrestled since I was in high school.
Then, really.
But I still rope to this day every second I can.
And you've been teaching your kids how to do that.
Yeah.
Your kids are pretty young still.
Yes, my son is 9.
Uh-huh. So for those who are less familiar with this with roping, basically it's just what it sounds like. You're using a rope, but you have skilled, very, very precise activities that you do with this rope, like taking down livestock or almost like target shooting with a rope.
I guess you could put it that way. Way back when the ranchers they have to rope the cows in order to doctor and take care of the animals. Well, they kind of dressed up and turned it into an event, a sporting event, and brought it to the rodeo. And we still do it. We still do it on the ranch, doctoring cows. but we more do it in the arena competing
For
having
sport
fun.
and competition.
Yes.
Requires a lot of fitness.
Yeah.
Requires a lot of concentration.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. Just like other sports, really.
Hand-eye coordination, yeah.
Well, and I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but that's just an interesting thing about you.
Thank you.
Part of your
I
background.
enjoy it.
Now, when you got married, you and Rachel were just sweethearts forever,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, in high school.
And I've met your wife. She's awesome.
She is. I
And
love
your
her.
kids.
They are cool.
So you've got this beautiful little family, and you guys were taking a little vacation down to southern Utah.
Yes.
And do you want to take it from there? What happened?
Well, we were on I-15 headed south towards St. George to my grandmother's house.
Mm-hmm.
The whole family was going to be down there. My mom and dad were still at the house. They were coming later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But me and my family, we'd gone earlier, and we slid off the road and had flat tires. And we're on the side of Beaver, 7 miles north of Beaver, with 2 flat
She's
tires.
right smack dab in the middle of Utah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I get on the phone and I start talking to Mom and ask her where she is. We could probably use one of your spares if you're not very far behind us, kind of thing. And in the meantime, she said, "Well, let you talk to your dad." And while she's passing the phone to my dad, another car hits us. And I didn't have my seatbelt on anymore. Everyone else was still seatbelted in, but I didn't.
Because you were pulled off the side of the road at this point.
Yeah, I'd gotten out and looked at the car and got back in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Another car hit that same patch of ice
I think so.
and just plowed right into you.
Yes.
You and the whole family.
Yes. And
Jason, this is like everybody's worst nightmare.
yeah, it kind of is.
But this is what happened to you and your family during this outing.
Mm-hmm.
From what you've told me before about this experience, that's the last thing you remembered.
Oh, I didn't remember.
You didn't even remember that
No.
part, probably.
No, that's all been told to me. I didn't know any of that happened.
Which is interesting because in the field of psychology, we learn about a thing called retrograde amnesia, which is where if you suffer a traumatic event like this, it's like your mind goes back and kind of deletes everything just before that.
It did. It deleted that whole entire day. I don't remember even going to work. I worked for half a day before we left.
You don't even remember that part.
Oh, no.
So your mind just kind of conveniently erased all that so you wouldn't have to think about it.
Yeah, which was probably a blessing.
Yeah. Well, that's why our minds do that. It's an amazing thing. And it's a little frustrating sometimes if you're trying to remember things. Because I know you're trying to share this story now. And you're piecing it together from what people told you. Now, you and Rachel and your kids were in this car. And I think, didn't you say a
I
niece
had
or something
2
like
kids
that?
and my little sister.
Oh, your little
in the
sister.
car.
Uh-huh. And was everybody hurt? I'm not sure I have this all straight.
The kids were, I'm not positive because this is all being what I've been told.
Okay.
But I believe the kids had some scrapes and bruises, weren't badly hurt, more psychologically than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And they took Rachel to the hospital. They were going to they were going to release her, and she passed out. And they said they had several different accidents that day, and so they were really busy. So when she passed out, they decided we better check her again. When they checked her again, they found 14 broken bones.
Oh, my heavens.
She broke her scapula, 9 ribs.
So she was beat up pretty
Her
bad.
pelvis in 4 places. Her pelvis actually still bothers her today.
Mm-hmm. And you were out of commission.
Yes, I was done.
In fact, they might have thought that you were dead on the scene, huh?
Yes, they said Mom has a journal entry in here that talks about how they didn't know why they transported me, but they didn't really know why because I was thought to be dead already.
Wow.
The Beaver Hospital, a doctor, I don't know his name. I tried finding him a year or two later and went back there but couldn't find him. He gave me a priesthood blessing, which was amazing. He said to my mom, he questioned why he should do it, because even if I survived, my quality of life would be so bad. He didn't know if he wanted to do that, but he felt like he needed to give me a blessing.
So you were so severely injured that you went into a coma, and you had an enormous mountain in front of you to climb as far as recovery.
Yeah.
There were people who didn't even expect you to recover.
Most didn't.
And if you did recover, like this doctor was saying, quality of life probably wouldn't be there. Wow. Okay, well, like I said, Jason, this is almost everybody's worst nightmare that you lived through. We're going to tell a little more of that story when we come back from this first break.
Raising kids is one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences we can have in life. Your children didn't come with an owner's manual, so it's up to you to learn whatever will assist you in your role as a mom or a dad. Join me and my husband, Dr. Paul, for a free weekly discussion about all of the hot topics in parenting. Listen to what others are saying about these calls.
By applying the things I've learned through the parental power calls, I'm finally becoming the mom I always thought I would be.
I really like to use parental power as kind of like a reference book. So as I have concerns with my parenting, I like to be able to look up on the blog and then listen to whatever podcast seems closely related. So I like the variety of topics, the variety of age groups that are addressed.
I'm on the parental power calls as often as I possibly can, because I know I'm going to come away with something I can apply to being a parent that very day.
Let us join your parenting team through parental power. Just send an email to Dr. Paul at liveonpurposeradio.com to register for the live calls. Or just check us out first through the link at drpaul.org. All of the previous calls are posted on our blog site, where you can also add your own input. Let's team up to start parenting on purpose.
This is Kirk Weasler to tell you about morebetterbooks.com. Morebetterbooks.com is where you can find more better books for a more better life. Not only that, let me tell you about some of the very fun and cool select titles on morebetterbooks.com. You'll want to get a copy of The Dog Poop Initiative. This best-smelling book could change your life forever. It certainly changed the lives of thousands of Boeing employees, as well as school teachers, parents, leaders across the United States and in Israel and in Germany. And you can get your own copy at morebetterbooks.com. Whoa, that's not all. What about The Cookie Thief? This classic tale told in a rhyming format, fully illustrated with very fun hidden messages. Pick up a copy now today on morebetterbooks.com. Are there great titles there? Finding Your Pathway to Mastery, Beyond Illusions, Make It Great. These titles are only available on morebetterbooks.com. Go to morebetterbooks.com today and begin to have a more better life and live that life on purpose.
All right, Jason, we've set this up now. There you are in the hospital. You're out of commission. You were in a coma.
Yes,
weren't
sir.
you?
Yes,
for
sir. For a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks.
I mean, depends on how you define a coma.
Okay.
But I really don't remember anything for almost a month.
And so they got you into the hospital. They started to do some assessment of what had happened. You were obviously pretty injured.
Yes.
In that accident. Tell us a little bit more about just where that went. What did you realize when you finally came to, or what was the story?
I'd like to start out by reading my mother's journal entry she wrote.
Okay. And you know what? I was just realizing before the show today when you came in and you said you've got some of these journal entries from your mom. You're just encountering these for the first time.
Yeah.
You've heard the stories. Your mom, she was there. That must have been just a terribly difficult time for her, for the whole family.
For my family, I can't imagine it.
You were just planning a family gathering, and it ended up being a tragedy.
My mom and my brother, my younger brother, who stayed by me through the whole thing, was very, very strong and very supportive. And I didn't know anything, any of this happened until after. I was comatose to everything.
So, there's some things you want to share.
Yeah,
that your mother shared with you.
Yeah, this my mom's journal entry says, "This hospital is cold. I've been wearing my coat for nearly 20 hours. My lips are dry, and my teeth feel like slime. Slimy rocks sitting on my mouth. These are uncomfortable, but it's my heart that hurts. My robust athlete, great dad, son, he is comatose next to where I sit. His haircut is a rapper's dream come true. One bald spot and a 6-inch bolt protruding at an angle. It looks like a horn or a Frankenstein movie. His face is peaceful. Now, but
this was what your mom was recording as she sat there by your side in the hospital.
Yeah, it still hurts me to this day.
Yeah.
She tries to. She says, "Don't move. We'll get you out as soon." Oh wait, I'm sorry. That was something.
That's all right. But the point you're trying to make here, Jason, is that this was a very grim situation. And for all of you listeners, if you can just imagine, just put yourself in Jason's position here, or in the position of his mother, or some member of your family. How difficult would that be? And then when you finally started to realize what was going on around you, what did you first know as you were coming out of this? What?
You know what, Dr. Paul? The very first feeling I felt was a peaceful. I don't remember having a near-death experience, but I think I probably did.
It sounds like it.
I just remember coming out and having this peaceful feeling and knowing that everything is good, everything is great, and everything is going to work out.
So as soon as you woke up, you were able to just pop right up out of bed and get back to work and out and play with your kids?
Yeah, almost.
Still working on that, aren't you?
A little bit.
Were you able to walk? Were you able to talk? What happened as you woke up?
No, I had to relearn everything. First off, I had to learn how to breathe again.
How to breathe?
Yes, they had breathing tubes in they kept trying to, when they'd take the tubes out, my mom said it was the greatest day of her life, and then it was the worst day of her life at the same time, because they took the breathing tubes out. Oh yeah, he's going to get better. And then my brain kept telling my body that it couldn't breathe, and they had to put the tubes back in.
Heavens. Wow. So something just as fundamental as taking a breath, you had to relearn that.
Yeah, and
That's amazing.
I still struggle with several things to this day, which people, if they don't know me, would never know.
Well, you walk around, you engage in activity, you're still roping, you play with your kids, you're being a dad. You're living a full life right now. This happened, was it in 2002? 2003.
So
We're recording this show
ago.
today in 2009, October of 2009. 6.5 years ago. And so in that period of time, you've had to basically start from scratch and relearn everything. How to breathe even.
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been quite a challenging time for you.
I don't remember that. thank goodness. Like
That particular part, you mean?
I don't remember trying to breathe again, but there are instances where I had my nose fixed, and my brain kept telling my body that I couldn't breathe in.
Mm-hmm.
That was done not too long ago, less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
then you just have to think it through and remind yourself of what to do, huh?
I guess.
Wow. And then walking, you had to relearn that?
I absolutely had to relearn everything. When I finally came home, a month and a half or 2 months later. I came home in a wheelchair, of course. I went home to my in-laws' house because I was living in a trailer at the time, and it wasn't wheelchair accessible. And
okay.
So I went home to their basement and lived in their basement for the first few months.
Mm-hmm. And then you went through a period of rehabilitation and therapy and all kinds of stuff, I'm sure.
You know what? I went to therapy every day. It was what we did. We woke up and went to therapy for a long time.
That just became your life.
Yeah, we went to occupational therapy in Park City. Went to physical therapy in Camas. Byron Horner did that. And I did a speech therapy with a family friend.
So we ought to give a shout out to Byron Horner.
He did awesome.
Isn't he a great physical
me a ton.
therapist?
Yes, sir.
And you guys might wonder why Dr. Paul's excited about Byron Horner. Well, Dr. Paul's middle name is Horner, and Byron is my cousin. You knew that, didn't you,
yes,
Jason?
Sir.
And he's doing some great work up there in Camas. So
yes, sir.
Shout out to you, Byron. Keep up the good work. But so you're going to therapists. Your whole life was committed to trying to figure out how to live again.
Yes. And the community was awesome. I mean, overwhelming. My mom has journal entry notes of like, this person, and the list is people I didn't even think cared. I mean, were concerned and cared about me and my family, and were awesome. That community rallied around us and helped us out a ton.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that is an important piece, isn't it?
Absolutely.
As you feel the support and the love and the caring of people around you, it just makes a huge difference. Wow. So we don't have to get into all of the details to make a strong point here that this was a life-changing, significant, huge event in your life.
Yeah, it was. You know, people look at me now and think, "Well, you're better now." Well, it's a long ways from that, and I'm still struggling with lots of things every day. But that's just life. Everyone has their struggles.
Well, you know what? You just say that as if everybody knows that. But here you are, having been through this, okay? Having been through everything that you've been through, like I said in that first segment, it's almost anyone's worst nightmare to be involved in that serious of a car accident with your family. I mean, your family was in there with you. That's scary stuff. People fear this. And they wonder sometimes, Jason, is there life after something like this? And I know you have some thoughts about that.
Absolutely. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I want to tell people, you know what? You can go on. When things happen to you, people might not even see them. They might not be noticeable. You may be dyslexic. You may have a learning disability. All sorts of different things. But the message I want to share with people is you can persist and you can go on. You can struggle on, no matter what your struggles are.
Wow. There were probably times you didn't see that as clearly.
No, sir.
As we get into our next segment, I want to talk a little bit more about what you just said. That you can go on, no matter what. And you've got a good story to back that up. We'll be right back.
This is Shay Larson, IdeaOrbit.com, with the World of Ideas Report.
Have you ever tried talking on your cell phone at a shopping mall, a construction site, or an amusement park? Odds are that it was too noisy, which makes for difficult conversation. Most people talk through their mouths, but one Japanese electronics company believes that people should be talking through their ears, literally. NS Alexco, a developer in Japan, has developed a new approach to talking on your cell phone while in noisy places. Their invention allows you to place an earbud in your ear, which reduces sound around you by up to 10 times. But here is the interesting part. They also placed the microphone in the earbud. As you talk, the microphone inside your ear clearly picks up your voice through bone vibrations. Not only does it allow you to listen to your call through your ear, but it picks up your voice through your ear as well. One earbud serves as a speaker, a microphone, and an effective noise reductor. This allows someone to walk through one of the noisiest places on earth and still have a clear conversation over their phone. Well done, NS Alexco, on an idea worth talking about.
This is Shay Larson, IdeaOrbit.com, with the World of Ideas report.
I've got a great idea. Wouldn't you like to know? You probably can't bear it, so I guess I'll have to share it. I thought of it a moment.
In a time of drastic change, it is the learners who inherit the future. The learned usually find themselves equipped to live in a world that no longer exists. Eric Hoffer.
Okay, we're getting into the stuff that I really like to focus on in this show, Jason, because, you know, we're talking about how everybody has challenges. Now, the ones that you have described to us today have particular meaning to me because this is something that I think anyone would agree would be a hard thing to deal with in life. But you mentioned a few other things, you know, like dyslexia, for example, having difficulty reading. You've had some difficulty regaining some of your skills as you were reading your mom's journal. It's a little hard to read, but it was also touching your heart because you weren't even really there.
Right.
And here's some people that you love who were in a lot of pain because of what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows where you were.
Well, I have some ideas.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Well, we talked about how, you know, it's interesting because I've read books and things before about people who have near-death experiences or who have powerful experiences like this where there's a thin veil, I think, between this world and the next. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I believe that with all my heart.
And you were sharing something with me during the break about you feel like you had a choice.
Yeah, I do. I believe that with all my heart. When I first came to, I remember a peaceful, calm feeling. Well, I don't remember that the psychology that you talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think wiped that out. But I believe I had a near-death experience, and I had the choice. I knew what I'd be faced with. I knew I'd be different and wouldn't be able to do a lot of the same things again.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to be there to raise my kids and be with my wife and be her companion.
So it's like you chose to come back.
I sincerely believe I chose to come back.
Knowing full well that this was not going to be easy. It's not going to be what you were used to. You don't get to go out there and be this elite athlete like you were before.
Yes, sir.
But you feel that you chose to come back anyway, and the feeling of peace that you had kind of confirmed that for you.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. There's probably times, Jason, and maybe you still have them, where you feel discouraged, where you feel, Is it even possible?
It happens more than I want to admit. Dr.
Does
Paul.
it?
Yeah,
Even still, but you've worked hard on that, haven't you?
I have. My wife, my family have been awesome. They help me so much. But it's a struggle. And
Now, you said something before the break, though, Jason. You said that you can persist no matter what.
right. And
You can keep struggling and fighting through whatever it is that you got on your plate.
Right. That's what I feel like I'm supposed to be here to help people understand is, you know what? Even when difficult circumstances arise, you can overcome them and you can do good. You can be awesome still.
So you still feel like you've got a long ways to go, but you've come a long ways.
I feel like there's a lot more I'm supposed to do, and I'm trying to raise my kids right now, and that's the real joy of my life.
Boy, and that's a challenge anyway.
It is. It is.
But you know what? It occurred to me as you were sharing this that you feel like you had a choice, that you knew at some level, you knew that there would be difficulties. You knew that this would not be the same as it was before. We've rewritten all the rules now, okay? And you get to play this game called life, but you got a whole different stack of cards now than you had before.
Yeah, when I feel really discouraged, I'm always like, none. Why did I choose to do this? I oftentimes feel that way, but I know deep down what I'm doing.
And then you can remind yourself, and that gives you more purpose. Purpose to keep moving forward. You got these little kids, and you were uniquely qualified to be their dad. Just the way you are.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that?
Yes, sir.
And you wouldn't trade that for anything?
No, I love them.
Good for you. Good for you. So, what advice? I don't know if you're here to give advice, Jason, but it occurs to me that you're in a position where you could, because you've got reasons to know things about life that some of us don't have because we haven't been through the same thing you have. What advice would you want to give to people? Let's say that there's somebody out there listening who's just feeling frustrated, feeling like there's not any hope, like whatever's going on in their life is too big and too bad and too awful to even deal with.
You know what? I felt that exact same thing. What I'm dealing with is too big, too bad, too awful. And I was like, no one knows, no one understands me, no one knows anything that I'm going through. Then my mom told me in a very significant thing. She said, Jesus does know. Jesus suffered on the cross and went through every pain you're feeling. And the advice I want to give to someone, you're not alone. You have help. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep working hard, and it'll be worth it. And you're worth it.
You've had to have some people kind of hold your hand through this too.
Yes.
The big tough guy that you are.
Yes, sir.
You said something earlier about you don't always feel so tough.
No,
Right.
I in fact, that's been one of my hard spots. Is I got my ego from my physical ability, and it really has worked on me.
It's been a humbling thing.
Yeah.
But in addition to those important people in your life, your mom, your wife, the family and friends, the community that you mentioned earlier, you've also mentioned a couple of times the spiritual side of this. Having an understanding at some really fundamental level about your purpose, about how to make sense out of things like this in your life, because they don't always make sense when you look at them through our mortal eyes.
Right. It doesn't make sense at all. But I feel very blessed. My dad and my mom raised me to believe. They raised me to not to just blind faith, but to seek for yourself and learn and know the truth. And I have a testimony, and it's very strong. of what can happen, why we're here, and what we're trying to accomplish, and the family aspect, and the families are just so great.
Wow. And I bet that perspective is a lot stronger for you now than it was before.
It is. Yeah,
before all this happened.
Mm-hmm. I guess maybe that's what I'm supposed to, part of what I'm supposed to be learning.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I have a friend who's an author. I've had him on this show, actually, who's a minister. And he has developed a habit of anytime anything difficult happens in his life, he just puts his hand over his heart and he says, "Thank you, God. Show me the lesson." You know, assuming that there's some lesson in this for me. Now, what if I can learn what I'm supposed to learn from this experience? Then what? Then what could I do with this?
Wow.
You can relate to that, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and as bad as I hate to admit it, this accident has been a blessing to me and my family. Would I ever want to do it again? Absolutely not.
No.
But it has been a great blessing. I've learned a lot about myself and about the gospel.
And if you can see it that way, you know what? If you can find a way to be grateful for the difficult experiences that you have in your life, I think that's half the battle, Jason. Probably more than half.
I think it's more.
As you put it into perspective and you realize, okay, maybe I didn't sign up for this. Maybe I didn't think that this was the package I wanted. Okay, but who knows? Maybe you did sign up for this. I don't know. But whether you did or you didn't, this is your package. Here it is. So what are you going to do with this? Can you learn from it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you said, talking about your minister friend. Learn. There's a lesson in each obstacle we face. There's a lesson for us to learn and to overcome. And it'll make us stronger. What doesn't kill you will only make you stronger.
So you know what else is really cool about this? You're learning some powerful things from your experience. But because you are willing to share your story, other people get to benefit from your experience too.
That's really what I'm hoping to do, to show other people.
And then it becomes a very valuable thing, not just for you, but for anyone else that it touches. We've got one more segment. We're going to come right back.
When you dream big.
In today's world, people have become much more conscious of their health and wellness. Finding new and effective ways to combat the effects of disease, aging, and poor nutrition is more important than it has ever been as we look to improve our own life and the lives of those we love. Kyani is a rapidly growing nutritional supplement company that is marketing in over 20 countries. Kyani's products combine the nutritional benefits of well-known superfruits with Nobel Prize-winning research and breakthrough science. Not only does Kyani help to improve the health and wellness of families, but through the amazing business opportunity that it offers, people like me have been able to create financial freedom. Kyani has the power to change your life, regardless of where you are or what your needs may be. Whether you are new to the network marketing industry or a seasoned veteran, you will find that Kyani has what you've been looking for. A well-financed, growing company with proven management to generate immediate income and the potential to allow normal people to succeed if they are willing to put in the time and effort.
Kyani is a proud sponsor of Live on Purpose Radio. To learn more or to join our exciting team, please visit liveonpurpose.mykyaniLife.com. That's liveonpurpose.mykyaniLife.com. Thank you for joining me for the Live on Purpose Radio podcast. It is truly an honor to be a part of your prosperity team. Please visit my website, drpaul.org, to get connected with other tools for you and your family. There you will find links to my weekly e-zine, Empower, Harnessing the Power of the Mind, and to the free Parental Power teleconference that I host every week with my wife, Vicki. You can also check out upcoming events or pick up powerful information products. feel free to contact me directly with questions, comments, or to book me for your company or private event. Email me through drpaul@liveonpurposeradio.com. We should just leave those mics rolling during the breaks, don't you think?
I don't know.
You're not so sure, huh?
No.
Sometimes we have these very candid, very straightforward conversations during the breaks, and you know what, Jason? I've been doing this show for a couple of years now. I've interviewed lots of people, and every single one has enriched my experience in life, has brought me something. Mm-hmm. And that is truly a gift. And this particular episode is no different, because you have brought a gift, not only to me, but to all of the listeners of this show. And this is the first time you've done anything like this.
Yeah.
True?
Yes. Well, I talked in church one time, but...
Uh-huh. That felt a little different, right?
Yeah.
It's really normal for most people to wonder, is what I'm saying, is what I'm doing valuable to anybody?
Yeah.
And you've wondered that a little bit.
Right.
But I've seen you, just in the time I've known you, I've seen you come to a fuller appreciation, just like we're talking about before this last break, that this is not just about you. For whatever reason, you've got this package, and you have been entrusted. Now, that's an interesting way to look at this. You've been entrusted with this experience.
Yeah. And I feel like I shouldn't bottle it up, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to share it and help other people, and that's why I came to you.
And there's some difficult things about sharing it. I mean, even right down to forming the words.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you had to learn how to talk again, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I think you're doing amazingly well.
My speech is still slurred on occasion.
Yeah.
And
but you know what? So's mine. I've talked before on this show about the voice disorder that I have. And you know what? For so long, Jason, I was just playing the little victim story in my head. I'm like, what the heck? I'm a psychologist. I need my voice. This is my tool. Right?
Yeah.
And I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter that my voice sounds a little strained or a little strangled sometimes. It doesn't matter, because that's just part of my signature. That helps people to know that it's me that they're listening to, you know? And I was so self-conscious about it for a while. But you know what? I've found out that this is still a tool for me. And you think about your own voice, okay? And you might wonder, oh gosh, can people tell that it's still hard for me to talk? Because the way you form it in your mind isn't the way it always comes out.
Right.
Have you noticed that?
Yes.
And that can be frustrating. I know. I can relate because I got this voice disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But you know what? You say it anyway. And this is why I'm so glad that you're here on this show today. You just say it anyway. Just get it out there. And it doesn't sound like you remember yourself sounding before the accident. That's okay. It's not supposed to. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we could have some fun with that. Well, you know what? I think as we bring it home here, we've got just a few minutes left. And as we bring this home, I think that there's some powerful messages we're hearing here. And one of those messages is, okay, you got this package. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to give up? Are you going to just shut down? Are you going to crawl into a hole somewhere and cease to exist? Sometimes you might want to.
There are occasions where I'd like to.
Yeah. But you're here today because you don't want anybody out there who's feeling that way to think that there's no hope.
Right. There's always hope.
There is always hope. And there's resources. And there's people around you who love you and care about you and who are willing to help.
Absolutely.
And there's all kinds of things that you can do. It might not be exactly the same as before, whatever this incident is in your life. You know, for Jason, it's this accident, okay? A determining point in his life where things changed.
Yeah.
And you can point to that and you can say, look, that's where a lot of things changed, okay? And for somebody else, it might be the loss of a loved one. It might be a divorce. It might be that one of your children just goes off the deep end and starts doing some goofy things. Whatever it is, you know, you can point to that. What are you going to do now? You know, you're going to crawl into a hole. Jason, the example that you set through just taking it on. Okay, and it's not easy. I don't think anybody's saying it's easy.
No, it's not.
It's not easy. But as you persist, and I wrote this in my notes, you can persist no matter what. Do you really believe that? No matter what?
Yes, you can.
Even if you're out of commission, in a coma, forget how to breathe. Wow.
Somehow you do.
Somehow. You just keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you put one foot in front of the other, and you keep taking the steps you know how to take. Sometimes you don't know what the next steps are going to be.
Right.
But just take the ones you know. And then you figure out where to go from there.
I'd like to give my appreciation to Dr. Paul for helping me express this, because that's truly what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Because you take the steps you know how to take, and you'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. That's what you've been doing all along.
Yes, sir.
So you don't know all the next steps to take, Jason?
Not yet.
Welcome to life, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah. But you know what? And folks, even if you can't see the whole path, just identify the next thing you could do. And you might feel like this is the last thing I could do. You know, you ever feel that way?
Yes, sir.
You might feel like this is the very last thing. And I don't know where it's going after this, but I'm just going to do this one last thing. And see well, do that. If you know to do that, do that.
I've been that way several times, and that's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. You know, a couple of quotes come to mind. I think it was, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to attribute this to Martin Luther King Jr., who said, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the steps that are in front of you. You know, and I had another good friend explain it as being in your driveway, and you're going to go somewhere, and you get in your car. You don't just sit in your driveway and wait for all of the lights to be green between here and Detroit before you take off. That doesn't make any sense. You just get out of your driveway, go to the end of the cul-de-sac, turn right, turn left. Take the next physical step that you can identify. And I want to take this opportunity, Jason, too. And you can think about this and share if you want to. But for all of you listeners, too, whatever this package is in your life, what if you were to just take a few minutes, pause the recording, take a few minutes, whatever you need to do, to identify what would be the next physical step I could take. Sometimes this is a little misleading because you'll think, well, the next thing I need to do is get into school. Okay, is that the next physical step? Or is it something like go to the internet, type in a search phrase for the particular schooling that I'm looking for, and download a couple of pages to research? See, that's more of a next physical step. Getting into school takes several steps before that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to challenge everybody to just identify the next physical step and do that. Don't worry about the whole trip. Just get to the end of the cul-de-sac. Turn right, turn left, whatever is next for you. So, Jason, now you got me on my soapbox. You put a nickel in me, I'll take off. Take a moment here to just share some final thoughts for our listeners. What is it that you want to leave them with today?
I think that I feel very grateful at this point in time for the opportunities that I've been given.
Mm-hmm.
For this, you know what? Through this accident, I have a platform that I can share with people and help them overcome everything they face, no matter what it is. It can be a divorce. It can be, like you said, loss of a loved one. All sorts of different things.
Just whatever.
Just take the next step and pursue.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that through my example that you can do that.
Jason, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being willing to share this story.
Thanks, Dr. Paul.
I told you months ago, this is a powerful story, Jason, and you've been entrusted with it. And for all of you listeners out there, as you hear what Jason is able to do with his package, what does that mean about you and your package? Can you persist on purpose? Because there is so much to life out there. And whatever your package is, it doesn't have to stop you. You can keep moving forward no matter what. It's been a pleasure to have you with me today, Jason.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. Everybody go out there and live on purpose. We'll catch you next time.